Eee. Oh, oh no. A disconnect. Can I get Lawrence back in? Alright. This is F2 round 12 in Brazil for SFR. We're gonna have cloudy quali, one-shot quali. We're gonna have slightly cloudy sprint race. And we're gonna have sunny race. But a bunch of blocks are always dynamic, so you never know. The weather might get switched up. I see that Lawrence is having trouble, so this is maybe an AI driving right now. Cringe is really good in F2. Coming back after the race, after the full league ban. After a while. Doing pretty well. Also gonna be reserving today in F1 in 2 hours. We have some debuts. We have DGP Rick debuting. We have Meta Hayato. I think that's their first time in F2, but not their first time in the league, because that was yesterday. And we have Tybox from Belgium as well, debuting in F2. Gonna be fun to see them race. Everybody on softs? Yeah. Cool. One-shot quali is always kind of a bore to watch, but we have to do it because the rules in the game are asinine for tire compounds. So if you do short quali for F2, everybody gets like only one tire compound, and it's just unplayable. We have to stick to this slightly unsatisfying way of qualifying. Minico 40 milliseconds behind Cringe in P2. F1 Senna 65 milliseconds behind Cringe in P3. Very interesting. Very close top 3 for this Brazil race. So the feature race is going to be spicy at the front, probably. Tie box invalidating. Nameless Pie kind of slow compared to everyone else. And Ligo on 3rd row. Pretty close with Ryu. And with Jake Brad. Our newest steward. Big gap between P9 and P10. Nikon may be practicing F1 more since he is going to reserve for McLaren a bunch at the end of this season here. Now the sprint is reverse grid, so we won't be seeing Cringe, F1 Senna, and Minico at the front. We'll be seeing Nikon and Cappuccino and a third person at the front. I'm gonna make sure my telemetry app works. It does work! Awesome. Also, is the stream showing the thing? It is. Wow, cool. Okay. And I'm gonna check Discord to see if Lawrence is complaining. Because maybe Lawrence got kicked forever? I don't know anymore. We have Formation Lab off because of bugs. Oh, Lawrence doesn't have a setup, allegedly. Nikon off to a good start. Meta Hayato in P3. Fighting with Cappuccino. Cappuccino is Capo Capato, by the way. I just changed their name. But it's still coffee related, so it should be easy to remember enough. Jigbat overtakes Meta for P3. Oh, and a huge incident in turn 4. A massive pile-up. Wow. That's gonna end a bunch of people's sprint and make them pit for a new wing. That was a very strange rejoin from Miniko as well. I hope to see footage of that in the series office. Cringe already up to P4 in that like huge carnage. No surprise there. Making up lots of places by staying clean is standard in F2 if you avoid the disasters. Lawrence and Lee don't have a nice fight here. Let's have a look at whose wing is damaged. Lawrence is looking okay. I'm not sure if Lawrence is even in. I'm gonna just quickly throw an invite in Lawrence's way, just in case. Here's Miniko versus Nameless Pie on the main straight drag race into turn 1. Miniko ends up in front. Nameless Pie falling off a little there in turn 3. Spangly, our only South American driver. That's why there's a little bit of jiggling on their car because of lag probably and hyping, but that's not a big deal in sim racing. I think that kind of distance should still be okay for battles. I think Lawrence is driving without a setup, but I believe it is Lawrence. Also, my chat's broken, so I'm gonna try to fix that. Okay, there we go. Should work now. Oh, battle in front. F1 Senna overtaking Cappuccino. Man, I really wish he'd still be named Capo Capato. That was so much better. Ooh, and Cringe sneaks in there with the help of DRS, maybe? Was there DRS on that lap? I'm not sure. Some contact between Spangly and Cappuccino in turn 1. And we see F1 Senna and Cringe constantly swapping positions there. Now they have DRS. Everyone except Cringe has DRS. So he's a little bit unfavored here by the gods. But Cappuccino stays behind, despite the DRS helping him. Jake Brad with a brutal 3-second time penalty. That might mean a lot of positions in the sprint race. For some of these drivers, this is a matter of getting as high as possible in the Drivers' Championship in F2. And for some of them, F2 is merely a matter of progressing up to F1, the more prestigious division of SFR. People who do race in F1 already, they're here on track as well. Nikon racing in McLaren today. Ryu racing in the Haas today, reserving for Corny. Corny is Haas's TP. And Miniko is actually smurfing in F2 because he's an Aston Martin driver. And Cringe will be reserving for Aston Martin alongside Miniko today in Brazil in F1. Let's see if Jake Brad can get Miniko on track with the help of DRS. They both have DRS, but Jake Brad has the closing gap, it seems. Oh yeah, we should actually check. Yeah, Miniko has a bunch of front wing damage there. That's from the carnage on lap 1, I believe. So no surprise that Jake Brad looks to have the advantage in battles here on straights. I mean on exits rather, right? Because you lose out on the minimum speed in the corners, and then Jake Brad might get a better exit next to that. This sector, for example, you're going to see Miniko losing time to Jake Brad for sure in this sector, right? Because you need downforce here. On the main straight, it's not such a big deal. Oh, you see Miniko almost losing it there. That's that lack of downforce from the front wing. And Jake Brad's tires may be starting to go. As we see Jake Brad get a bunch of snaps in oversteer despite not having heavy front wing damage like Miniko. Spangly. Nice move on Cappuccino, main straight. Uses that DRS. Always staying a little bit ahead here. Legal gets a 3-second time ban. People are not watching their track limits, it seems, and that's costing them in this one. And the game is unforgiving with that stuff. DGP Rick very generous there for Nameless Spy with the space, but that's only for the benefit of everyone's safety, I guess. As Nameless Spy maybe did not earn that inside line there, but was granted it nonetheless. Now we have a battle for P8 between Jake, Brad, and Lawrence. Lawrence is himself following Minico and Ligo along. Does Lawrence have damage, or just a bad setup? I don't see any front wing damage on Lawrence. It might be invisible front wing damage though. Certainly does not have the setup he wants, as the game kicked him out of the lobby right when he was supposed to select that. Meta Hayato is on the back of DGP Rick. Or is it just Rick? Because DGP is like a team or something. We'll never know unless we ask. That's a nice move into turn 1, but has to lose out over there as he goes too wide, I guess. And Meta Hayato is down to P13 after that move. Apparently went way too deep in turn 1, I guess. Cappuccino still in the DRS range of Spangly. A nice little DRS train between 5 cars on the back of Spangly here. Or rather 6 cars. Oh yeah, I never short tires. Look at that. Everybody's on mediums. Cool. Looks like medium to soft or soft to medium will be the strategies in the feature race. Oh, Cappuccino overtaking Spangly on the main straight there. And Spangly has to follow along and get DRS. That may have been a track limits warning there for Spangly for the Prema. Gets the DRS, but pretty far away from Cappuccino. Got a way better traction through the corner. And behind Spangly we see Minico's devastated car keeping up, because Minico's a really good driver. And also front wing damage is not that big of a deal in F2 compared to F1, I believe. Because these cars are pretty low on downforce anyway. Ooh, Nameless Spy wisely backing out there. That could have been nasty. Ryu was stuck behind Lawrence, who is allegedly without a good setup here on the default setup. We know default setups in this game are absolutely dreadful. So in theory, it should be easy for Ryu to get this position, but it doesn't look like it. Oh, Minico is in the fight between Cappuccino and Spangly all of a sudden. Got a huge boost on that main straight, and Cappuccino with a 3-second pen. That's gonna hurt him after the race for sure. Spangly's finish looking much more hopeful now. Oh, and Minico. Maybe an incident with Cappuccino. Both of them going off track there. Minico fully spinning. Maybe we'll find out what happened there someday, but no way to rewind now. And that's gonna send them both tumbling back in the order with a somewhat ruined sprint race. As if Minico's front wing damage wasn't enough to ruin it. It gives chances to drivers like Jake, Brad, Ryu, and Lawrence though. Ligout holding onto his P5 with the time penalty, looking much more likely now. He just needs to get away farther from Lawrence, who is 1.5 seconds ahead now after penalties. Lawrence is a sitting duck for Ryu here, with Slipstream and DRS. However, Lawrence's default setup appears to be very low on downforce. So the overtake isn't that easy. Ryu is very persistent, and Lawrence ends up spinning out, hitting Jake Brad, who then, like a domino, ends up almost taking out 2 other people. Okay, this is not a very clean race in the first few turns. Namely turn 2, turn 1, turn 4. Gonna be a lot of tickets maybe after this one. But hey, that's why it's a feeder, right? It filters out all the bad moves, so we can have cleaner F1. In terms of points, a bit of a meaningless battle here for P11, but nonetheless, should be entertaining. With Tybox, Rick, and Nameless Spy on the back of meta for P11. Ligout, oh yeah, what happened to Lawrence? Was Lawrence in an incident as well? I remember Miniko and Cappuccino being in an incident, and Ligout getting away from Lawrence, but now it's Ryu behind Ligout somehow. I don't remember. Oh yeah, Lawrence was in an incident with Ryu, right, okay. Lawrence spun and took out Jake Brad as well. Well, now Ligout has to contend with Ryu. Nikon looking more and more likely to clinch the win in the sprint race here. Oh, what happened? Tybox going super wide there in the MP. He did indicate in the Discord that he's got very little experience with F2 cars, so not a huge surprise that he's a bit behind here, but a lot less behind than you would expect from someone with 0 experience. Oh, Nikon must have made a huge mistake here in Sector 2 as F1 Senna grabs the position after being 1 second behind. Nikon with a lot of oversteer, that might be related. How about front wing damage? No, there's no visible damage on Nikon's car, so must have just been a oversteer snap or something for Nikon that cost him over 1 second. Nikon has to win back his P1 position from F1 Senna. F1 Senna looking to guarantee the F2 championship actually this weekend. But with Trat Racer not attending, it might already be guaranteed. Because I remember Taco saying something about him having to have lots of points over Trat Racer specifically, so I'm not sure. Cappuccino and Miniko have climbed their way back up to P8 and P7, respectively. But Cappuccino still being weighed down by this time penalty, which will not go away because you can serve 3-second time penalties, and they're probably not pitting anyway in this race. It's a sprint after all. Oh, missed an overtake. Ligout versus Ryu. Ryu moving up and mounting an offense here against Ligout. Ligout also wasn't able to keep his track limits perfectly squeaky clean, so it's more of a formality for Ryu to take that. But Ryu might be looking further ahead now as he is in DRS range of Spangly in the Prema, and that's P4. Probably not quite enough time to get on the podium though for Ryu. And Nikon has only lost time to F1 Senna since we last saw him lose that position after a little mistake. Should still be on the podium, but might not be able to clinch the sprint win anymore. So yeah, very big chances that either F1 Senna is already the F2 Drivers' Champion, or he will be after this event, after this weekend. Very likely to happen this weekend. Lawrence has done very well considering the default setup. That car must not be very pleasant to drive with this setup, and yet Lawrence is in the top 10. Sure, outside of the points, but those time penalties might catapult him into scoring at least a little bit here. As long as he keeps up with Jake Brad in P9. Nikon getting a little bit closer to Senna. But whatever happens between those two, the time penalty drops Nikon to P2 anyway. He is far enough from Cringe though, just to secure the second position at least. And Ryu has worked his way up into the gearbox of Spangly. The Trident is so close now. But turn 5 is not the best place to overtake people, so might not happen here. And you just have to follow along in Sector 2 usually. But the main straight with DRS is where things happen. Oh, Ryu. Some late braking. And Spangly reacts with the switchback. But Ryu keeps the position after Spangly has difficulties and a tiny bit of wheel banging holds him up. Spangly will have DRS here though. This might end up hurting Ryu actually, because of no DRS on the main straight. Now Spangly opens the rear wing, and look at how fast he's making up the time to Ryu. On the outside though. So Ryu sacrificing some time to defend here. Keeps the position. And Spangly's almost all out of options here into Retro Pasta. My favorite named section of an F1 track, Retro Pasta. And the Retro Pasta DRS is not enough for Spangly to make this move. So unless Spangly can replicate the late braking of Ryu in the end, in the middle of Sector 2 there, that's gonna be it for the P4 position, and Spangly's gonna be content with P5. Brutal. He's not even close. Yep, Ryu's gonna keep P4 apparently. And here we see Senna finishing it up. Relatively easy sprint win for him. Nikon in P2 and Cringe 7 seconds behind them in P3. A safe podium though, as Ryu is a few seconds behind himself after lots of battles, lots of defending and attacking. Spangly in P5, Ligot in P6. But Miniko takes P6 from Ligot after a time penalty. And Lawrence actually ends up in P9, no points scored with that default setup. After an unfortunate disconnect at the very start of the lobby. And I believe we have a very rare race where 14 or more drivers attended and we have 0 DNFs in sprint in F2 with a bunch of people debuting. And debuting drivers always DNF. That's one thing you'll consistently see in SFR, is people DNFing. So I'm very pleasantly surprised about that. But it was not super clean. We saw some massive pileups, as is the tradition for feeders as well in an SFR. Gotta make sure to show stuff on stream so that it's easier for us to deal with it. And for the convenience of the reporting drivers who want to appeal their warnings sometimes. Maybe double warnings, maybe unfair warnings. We're gonna show this as well. And might as well check my Telemetry up. It worked. Great. Well, we're going back to the feature race where I believe Cringe is gonna start on pole. And Minico is gonna start alongside Cringe on the first row, and F1 Senna is gonna be P3 at the start. And I don't remember who got P4. It's Spangly, right? Because Spangly started P7 in the sprint, so that must mean he's P4 in the feature race. Big brain. Quick maths. Our F1 race today does not have Cookie, the Season 6 Drivers' Champion. And we have Waps from wapsracing.com filling in. So, it's going to be a bit reminiscent of this real-life F1 race where Verstappen DNF'd. Instead of DNFing, Cookie will simply step aside and not be available. So, it might be Rouleton in the Ferrari dominating. It might be some other people, maybe in the Red Bull. It's going to be interesting to see Waps and Max Martin contend with other drivers in their massively overpowered car. And that's happening 90 minutes from now in F1. But before that, we're going to finish up this feature race. Where Cringe, Minico, and Senna are the three big favorites for this one. Could be a nice battle between those. F1 Senna with an amazing start. Gets stuck behind Cringe though, because he almost runs into him and there's not much space on the sides. And F1 Senna has to be satisfied in P3 still. Lawrence still stuck on this default setup with a bad feeling car. Oh, Ligo with a sneaky move on Spangly, and Spangly gets spun out from behind apparently. Has to rejoin. And rejoins safely and cautiously, so that's great, but I wonder what happened there. Someone made some contact with Spangly there from behind, it seemed. And that could have been Spangly's mistake, it could have been that other person's mistake. We're gonna see that in the steward's office, I guess. If either side bothers to report. The entire top 3 is stable. Everybody basically holding positions. With Spangly completely falling off after that incident. Oh, Ryu almost spinning there. That section is very easy to spin in because you're applying a lot of throttle after doing much steering. Doing lots of steering. Much steering, very wow. That was a joke for viewers who are 30 years old. A Cappuccino versus Jake Brad. Did you know Mercedes TP this season is also called Jake? So many Jakes in this league. Insane. Jake Brad very close to Cappuccino. But no DRS yet. So you don't get helped out in these overtakes. You gotta be naughty on the braking. Something happened to Nikon. And now he's the new Spangly, it seems. I'm gonna guess that Nikon overcooked it in turn 4 or something. I don't know. F1 Senna tried one on Minico there. Just what I was referencing with the being naughty and braking. Nothing really ends up happening though, as Minico keeps position. And Cringe gains and ends up flying away in the front. And now Cringe is nearly over 1 second ahead, but now that gap is decreasing again, so never mind. Ryu is super close to Ligo here. Why is Ryu weaving like that? That was weird. Was Ryu about to spin or something? I have no idea. There's F1 Senna going a bit wide there in turn 1. That's going to cost him some time, maybe? Or maybe he was just offsetting his line not to hit Minico. All these drivers have DRS now at the front. We have this huge DRS train in the front with 6 people in it. F1 esports vibes. And Ryu potentially gets a track limits warning there as we're on board with him. And 2 more of those, and that's gonna start costing positions most likely. Assuming that the race in the front remains this close, which they don't always do. Yesterday in F1.5, that race had huge gaps at the end. It was pretty boring near the end. Everybody was like 5 seconds apart. F1's are really hungry for that top 2. The only person at a disadvantage here should be Cringe with the lack of DRS, but Cringe has a big gap behind him. He's probably not feeling that unsafe. This is a very long DRS zone, but as you can see, that is not making a huge difference. We just saw Ligoat lose a tiny bit of time, and now he's falling off massively because of no DRS to the people in the top 3. Ligoat is now an easy target for drivers like Ryu or Cappuccino fighting for that P4. Some nice overtaking at the back there as well. We should show that. Oh, that's a big train of cars. Nameless Spy and Rick. Nameless Spy going a bit wide there in turn 7. Losing a bunch of positions. Must have messed up a little bit. I forgot to show any tires. We have mostly mediums for everyone. Minico is a big outlier at the front on mediums. Everybody else on softs. Except for the bottom 4 people. Nameless Spy is the only one in the bottom 4 on softs. Let's stop showing that. Because we see Minico overtaking Cringe almost on these mediums. You'd think Minico's got these slower tires, but he's still aggressive. It is Cringe who has DRS though. And that means better entry. Or rather, better top speed going into the braking in turn 4. But Minico's line was better through turn 4. So that's what allows them to keep going in this battle. Very nice clean battle there between Minico and Cringe. You love to see it. Nikon is battling Thai Box here, who's doing an impersonation of Nameless Spy from last round. Ooh, F1 Senna getting a bit too close to Minico there. Ends up costing him time. Just to get out of the way. And Cringe almost spins at the front, losing a bunch of positions. Is Ligoat gonna catch up and take Cringe's place as well? Nope. Was not enough for that, but Cringe has decisively lost this battle for P1 now. He's gonna have to make up all this time. And the order has been flipped on its head a little bit and then mixed up with Minico in P1 now, F1 Senna in P2, and Cringe in P3. Still on the podium and still fighting for P2, however, so not that big of a deal. Minico is supposed to be on the slower tire though, so it appears that we're watching Minico dominating right now in this feature race. Minico, who is also P2 in F1 Drivers' Championship in SFR. Did I say F1? Because it's in F1. Not sure exactly what's up in F2 there. I forgot to check. The entire top 7 is within DRS range of each other. Ligoat has caught up a bit after Cringe's mistake in at the end of sector 2. Jakebed is at the end of this 7-car train. And behind this train, we have, in extending gaps, we have Lawrence, Spangly. Spangly had that unfortunate incident at the very start. Drop from all the way from P4. Nikon, who also had a little spin or something. Tybox, Rick, Nameless Spy, and Meta. Nameless Spy, Meta, and Rick fighting for P11 against Tybox. It's a nice battle to watch. Look at how close they have to go. Nameless Spy having to leave the track there to stay safe. And a lot of contact with Rick, which slows Rick down and causes understeer for him. Cringe already changing his tires. Not satisfied with how long his softs are lasting, he's switching to mediums. He's probably gonna go until the end on these mediums. And that's gonna take a lot of effort to keep him alive, as Brazil is very brutal on tires, on tire wear. This means that Cappuccino loses the DRS that he had on the front car, who was Cringe. Which means Legoat can have an easier time overtaking Cappuccino now. And Cappuccino might be prompted to pit for new tires as well and follow Cringe into the garage. Into the pit lane. Let's see if my little prophecy comes true. Will Cappuccino pit instead of losing all these positions? Nope, he's pitting. He does not think he can make those mediums last this long. And Legoat is looking to pounce here. Ryu and Lawrence are also changing into their own mediums? Yeah, mediums. They started on softs. Alright. F1 Senna still keeping up with Mineko's mediums. Or rather, Mineko still keeping up with F1 Senna on mediums, right? Because it's Mineko on the slower tire. Cappuccino losing 2 positions to Jagbrad and Legoat. I was expecting only Legoat to make this overtake, but Jagbrad also jumping in there, taking advantage. Nice opportunistic moves like that is what you want to do in racing, I guess. Hey, and F1 Senna super close to Mineko now. But it's F1 Senna's tires are gonna start dropping off here very soon. As we saw Cringe show that. Very impressive defense from Mineko so far, keeping this P1. Even if Mineko loses this position, it feels like he's already done a great job. Ooh, Spangly. 5-second penalty for speeding. You always see someone get that in F2. Especially when it's a normal race without safety cars and without drama. It means that they lose sight of this specific problem. That you can't rely on the pit limiter too much in these games. And Spangly falling for that trap this time. And that's going to cost him a lot of positions, but I feel like he will be much more salty about the incident at the start of the race than this meager 5-second penalty. That incident cost him like 15 seconds or something because he like spun and had to let everybody by. Well, Mineko still effectively defending here from the Trident's reserve. We also have Meta versus Tybox in Sector 2. Oh, Senna letting go of those softs now. He's careful on pit lane entry to not get a 5-second time ban. And behind him we have Legoat and Jagbrad as well diving in, but Legoat makes the mistake that Spangly made as well. And like in those, Legoat was like what, top 6 here, top 5 virtually. That's gonna cost him. That's gonna really hurt. Mineko now can drive without worry of losing the position to F1 Senna. And he's got his in lap coming soon as well, in about 3 laps. Depends how long he wants to take these mediums. And Meneka, when he comes out of the pits, is going to be looking to come out ahead of Cringe, who is probably driving his butt off right now in an attempt to undercut Meneka. That battle might cost him a little, as he overtakes Rick in Sector 2. But it's a nice clean move that's not gonna cost him that much. He really minimized it to the best possible degree there. To a maximum degree is what I'm trying to say. And F1 Senna came out behind Meta Hayato. Wow, nice camera angle, doesn't show anything. Meta is pitting. And F1 Senna just using that DRS. Another brutal 5-second speeding penalty. You hate to see it. But hey, that's how you learn, right? To not trust the pit limiter. We see drivers go through this every single event, but I was gonna say that they learned, but I just realized that Ligote is this like huge veteran who's been racing for multiple seasons now. So yeah, not everyone learns. Ligote does not maybe learn that specific part, but you know, most of them learn. Spengly, Meta, they're new, so that counts. But yeah, Ligote seems unable to learn that little lesson. He forgot. It's Ryu versus Cringe now. Ryu is so close, he can smell this the Serbian sweat in Cringe's car. And Meneka pits. Getting his softs. Meneka just wants to come out in front of F1 Senna and Cringe. This pit lane exit takes forever. Oh. It comes out behind Senna. But Senna's on the slower tire now. So it's not impossible that Meneka still gets in. Who is that in the wall? Oh my god, I legitimately don't know who is in the wall. Why was there a yellow flag? Maybe it's Ligote? I don't know. Some weird yellow flag that I can't even investigate. Yeah, so this is gonna be interesting. Now, Formula Cringe a bit behind here for the win. Wait, what? Is that Ligote again? Oh, Ligote is just straight up spinning. In Sector 2. Being a nuisance a little bit for these oncoming cars. Anyway, battle at the front is going to be interesting because we have Meneka in the RS range of Senna, but Meneka is on the faster tire. However, Meneka himself has shown that the medium is nothing to be scoffed at when defending in P1. So might not be as easy as it seems for Meneka for that quote-unquote faster tire. Ryu and Cringe touching, and Ryu losing a bunch of time and going wide there, possibly due to the contact. That was either naughty defending from Cringe or just Ryu messing up. It's hard to say right now from the commentator's booth. That didn't seem so significant though, so I doubt Ryu will bother reporting this, honestly. Look how close Meneka is to Senna now. Senna went for the gap and now he's a racing driver. Except that gap was in strategy and in pits and in pit exits. In pit strategy is what I should be saying, I guess. Hey, F1 Senna almost spinning there at the end of Sector 2. Miniko is gonna take advantage of that, gain some time. DRS is also gonna enable him to keep up with the Trident. And Miniko's not gonna let him go so easy. Whoa, look at his advantage. In top speed. Oh my god. Miniko absolutely smashing F1 Senna here, who runs into the back of Miniko and almost loses the car. Ligoat dies. Oh, and now we have safety car. I wonder what that's gonna mean for the strategy for the top dogs. Ligoat dying in sector 2. I did not get that on camera. I wonder how you can even die there, because that's not a very fast section, so I have no idea what happened to Ligoat. It's hard to deduce for me even what could have caused that. So let's see, for the next 3 laps we're gonna have SC probably. We are getting a little sprint at the very end of the event. This is gonna be possibly good news for Cringe, who has this big gap in front of him. That's gonna disappear, this gap. It's gonna help Cringe get maybe P2 if he fights for it. Are these P2, P1 drivers, are they gonna opt for new tires? Let's see everyone's tires. Metahiro and Thai Box are getting new tires. They're softs. That makes sense. They want to climb up after in the low sprint after the SC restart, and they don't have much to lose in terms of positions because they were already pretty low in the order. And that decision arrives for Miniko and Senna, who are also getting new tires, so they're both switching to softs as well. And Cringe as well. That makes sense, because 7-lap old mediums, they were not going to hold up against all these other soft tires, right? Everybody wants new tires except Jake Brad. Jake Brad is like, nope, I'm good. I'm good on these mediums. It's gonna be interesting to see Jake Brad defending his butt off in the restart. And Spangley has the 5-second time penalty, so no matter how hard he defends, it's not gonna bear that much fruit. You know, this might be a mistake from Spangley, because the game might let him serve this penalty, honestly. I know it's under SC, but sometimes it'll let you do it, you know? So this could have meant some positions for Spangley. He opting not to go into the pit lane. That means he's going to stay with that 5-second time pan. And that's going to continue to hurt him when the race finishes and the order shakes out. And obviously SC restarts with only 2 laps after that. That's not going to have big gaps. So Spangley's going to drop down like a brick. Miniko, F1 Senna, and Cringe are initial podium places. They're now P3, P4, and P5. And they're going to be attacking Jigbrad and Spangley in the restart. I'm gonna check Discord because it's CQ time. And there's no point commentating over that for that long. Pum, 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 pum. Oh yeah, I just realized. I looked at Discord and I just realized Chewy Aurelius didn't even like attend or anything, but he said he was gonna. That's weird. I think Chewy just forgot to like fill out attendance or something, and didn't check the time. Is the SC going in? It might go in now. It might go in next lap. Looks like next lap. So lap 17 is gonna go in. And we're gonna get 3 laps of racing. And until then, these gaps are gonna shrink. Meta Hayato and Thai Box are still catching up to the SCQ. Ligo's untimely death causing the safety car. After Ligo had pretty bad luck already in the race, in the feature race. 5-second time pen in the pits as well. And then he dies on the main straight. No, sorry, in sector 2 somehow in the barrier. I wonder how that happened. Maybe locked up the rear tires on the final on the one hairpin. Maybe that sent him into the barrier. Okay, Shirley is gonna go in now. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Jake Brad is going to do his best impression of Gerard Butler now from the 300 by Zack Snyder. As he defends against 12 men. Instead of thousands of Persians, it's just gonna be 12 men. Jake Brad gets going. Spangley is 3 tenths behind there. And the lack of DRS also helping Jake Brad. Cringe and Senna get tangled up, and it's a huge pileup in turn 1. And there's like, what, 6 cars involved in that? Oh my god. And you know who's really happy about this? Jake Brad. And Miniko. Miniko making a move. Turn 4. Inside. Spangley lets him by there. Clean racing. Spangley lost so much time there. Maybe Spangley was more concerned about staying safe than defending from Miniko. Cappuccino DNF'd in that massive pileup, and F1 Senna and Cringe's races for the win are pretty much over. F1 Senna still might end up in the points here, but it's Miniko versus Jake Brad now for the lead. And as I'm saying that, Miniko technically takes P1, but Jake Brad takes it back there. Jake Brad is on a slower tire, and Miniko finally in the lead here. And it's unlikely for Jake Brad to win that back. With the slower tire, Miniko is on fresh softs, and Jake Brad is on what, 8-lap-old mediums or something, so that's not looking great for Jake Brad in terms of winning the race. However, Jake Brad might still be very happy with P2. Honestly, that has maybe been handed to him a bit in this huge incident on SC restart and with the safety car. Let's see Nikon. A big battle in turn 1 here. We have Thai Box and Nikon and Senna. Lots of people. It appears that Cringe was severely hampered by that big incident in turn 1. Is there front wing damage on Cringe's car? No, it doesn't look like that, but Cringe is still super slow. Maybe side pod damage even. Or maybe he's just taken a chill pill after all that happened. Miniko now firmly in the lead, 2 seconds ahead of Jake Brad, and Spangley is no threat to Jake Brad with over 1 second of gap in front and 8 seconds of penalties. Yikes. And Lawrence is looking to be able to take the podium here after all this that has happened with the default setup. That really shows you that, like, sometimes even with the shittiest setup ever, you can still come out on top if you're good enough and if you're persistent enough in these races, especially messy ones like this one with lots of incidents. F1 Senna is an absolute force of nature after all these incidents. So many track limits penalties. F1 Senna also affected by them. Just as I was praising him. Commentator's curse. Classic. That's going to cost him a few positions. Might even end up outside the points here. So close between everyone here in the first 3 turns. And Meta Hayato gotta be licking his lips, looking at all these time penalties, because he's the only one in that section of the order without any of them, without any penalties. That's gonna mean what, 5 positions for Meta Hayato if they all stay close to each other? It might be. Might be the biggest leap across the order for any driver ever. With so many time penalties. Hey, someone spun. It's cringe. Yeah, cringe might have rear wing damage or side pod damage or something there. That might explain that. Anyway, back to Meta Hayato fighting for what, P5? No, P6. P5 is locked in for Ryu, who does not have penalties. P6 then. F1 Senna battling Nikon in the front there. Miniko wins the feature race. Congrats to Miniko. Gonna end up on our Instagram on SimHaven Racing. Check us out. Lawrence gets on the podium with the default setup. Absolutely amazing. Ryu P4. Spangly in P5. Great performance despite a big incident at the start. Meta Hayato in P6. What an amazing debut for someone who has never even driven F2 cars before in league racing. Nameless Pie in P7. Very nice. Finishing in the points. F1 Senna in P8. Nice recovery drive for those 2 laps after the disaster. Lawrence gets DODTD from the game. That's deserved. Default setup after all. Behind the F1 Senna, we have Nikon in P9 and Thaibox closes out the points. Nice debut for Rick as well. Didn't DNF or anything. That's what counts when you look at F2 debuts, in my opinion. Let's show these results on stream, and we're gonna show Race Director as well. Because that's useful for people who are appealing penalties. All right. And now we're gonna, in exactly 60 minutes from now, we are going to be streaming F1 round 12, also in Brazil. Many of these drivers will be seen again over there. So check that out. And I'm gonna sign off for now. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please smash that like button and that subscribe button. And I'll see you in F1 in 1 hour. Or if you're watching on YouTube, click this video that's about to show up. That's gonna be the F1 race as well. If I remember to do the cards. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.